Welcome to MAP, Mobilizing Alabama Pathways. Today's MAP is the Hospitality and Tourism MAP. Let's begin. In this map on hospitality and tourism, we will cover the types of employment in this industry, hospitality, tourism, food safety, and then you will collect your certificate for participation. Our learning objectives include: the goal of this course is to introduce individuals to entry-level positions in hospitality and tourism. This includes skills such as customer service, communication, health, and safety, and essential qualities of the service industry. At the completion of this course, you will be able to effectively meet customer needs and expectations, understand the fundamental principles and concepts related to the service industry, know and apply the skills for crisis prevention and conflict resolution, practice responsible and ethical practices within the service industry, effectively meet the needs and expectations of the customer, demonstrate fundamental IT concepts. Hospitality and tourism employment. Jobs in the hospitality and tourism career cluster involve planning, managing, and providing lodging, food, recreation, conventions, and tourism, and related planning and support services such as travel-related services. Lodging, restaurant and food, beverage service, amusement and recreation are all parts of this industry. Hospitality. Restaurant and food beverage service. Employees working in the restaurant and food beverage services pathway perform a variety of tasks to maintain operations and promote guest services in eating and drinking establishments. Training for chefs, servers, and bartenders has changed radically in the past 10 years as they continue to assume greater leadership and managerial roles in the industry. Restaurant and food beverage services. Food and beverage services are not limited to just restaurants. Hotels and resorts, theme parks, cruise lines, hospitals, airlines and airports, restaurants, recreation facilities, and casinos. There are different parts of a restaurant. In order for a restaurant to prosper, there are many parts that must work together to create a positive experience for the consumer. Understanding the parts of a restaurant, the breakdown between the front of house, or FOH, and back of the house, BOH, along with the specific roles of restaurant staff, is an important concept to grasp when working in the hospitality industry. The back of the house, BOH, encompasses all the behind-the-scenes areas that customers will not see. The BOH is often referred to as the central command center in a restaurant because it is where the food is prepped, cooked, and plated before making its way to the customer's table. All back-of-house staff should adhere to safety and hygiene protocols, such as wearing clean uniforms, aprons, and PPE. Front of the house, FOH. This refers to all the areas and services that a customer will be exposed to during their stay at a restaurant, such as the dining, bar, and lobby areas. Employees who work in the front of the house should have excellent hygiene, professionalism, and customer service at all times. Back of the house. In a restaurant, there are many positions in the back of the house, which would be the kitchen and prep area. Here we have the different jobs: cooks and chefs, food exhibitor, and the dishwasher. The executive chef is the most senior member of the kitchen staff. They supervise the kitchen staff, create menus and specials, orders food, determines cost, and takes care of the administrative task. The sous chef is second in command, runs kitchen during executive chef's absence, will train new chefs and cooks, oversees details of each dish, and oversees the food lines. The prep cook. Their duties include chopping ingredients for daily food prep, measuring ingredients and seasonings, properly labeling containers for storage, keeping kitchen countertops clean. The line cook is responsible for chopping ingredients for daily food prep, runs a specific station in the kitchen, cooks specific menu items, cleans stations, disposes of leftover food, and follows executive or sous chef instructions. The exhibitor organizes orders by table, makes sure everyone sitting together is served at the same time, works on the server side of the window, and must be very familiar with the menu. The dishwasher operates all dishwashing equipment, washes and sanitizes all dishes, flatware, and glasses in a timely manner for dining room turnover, washes and sanitizes all pots, pans, and cooking utensils for the kitchen staff. The front of the house, dining and bar areas, are the forward-facing parts of the restaurant. They include the host or hostess, bartender, waiter and waitress. The general manager oversees all operations of the restaurant. They are responsible for hiring, controlling beverage and labor cost, maintaining health department regulations, training, and employee development, overseeing guest services and resolving issues, training and managing the kitchen, front of house, and management personnel. The host will greet guests, seat guests, offer menus to guests, take reservations, and answer the phones. The server will describe menu and daily specials, take and process orders, check on guests, prepare bills, and collect payments. The bartender will make and serve drinks to guests seated at the bar, make drinks for servers to take to guests at tables, make sure bar is neat and clean, make cocktails, serve wine, beer, and other alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks. The bar back will keep bar stocked with liquor, syrups, glasses, and supplies, prepare garnishes, refill ice wells, and restock items, clean up spills, remove empty glasses, and keep the bar neat and clean. The busser will keep the bar stocked with liqueur, syrups, glasses, and supplies. Prepare garnishes, refill ice wells, and restock items. Clean up spills, remove empty glasses, and keep the bar area neat and clean. There are other food service support staff. The bar back, the room service attendant, and the banquet setup. There are managerial jobs and other positions in the restaurant industry that will require extra training or skills. Look through each tab below to learn more about the managerial and leadership positions in the restaurant industry. The general manager, the wine steward, the banquet and catering manager. Tourism. Tourism is an activity of the movement of people that deserves the praise of all human beings. It can further be called the activity of movement of people, visitors, and activities of the provider, the person or agency, which supplies various services and products to the visitors during the course of the travel. Tourism is the theory and practice of traveling. Tourism is a structured break from routine life. It involves a separation from everyday life and offers an entry into another moral and mental state where expressive and cultural needs become more important. Tourism is a temporary movement of people to destinations outside of the place where they normally live and work, and their activities during their stay at these destinations. Further, tourism can also be called not only the activities of the provider to a visitor, but it also is the process of involving people and is about people. An example, knowing people better. Tourism is not only a short time process, but is a long-term relationship between consumer and provider. This means that knowledge, skill, and attitude are important factors in providing standard service and products matching this requirement. Hence, tourism can be called the process of organized travel. Tourism is an activity that is very generic in nature and, as such, has no standardized definition. Many people and many organizations have defined tourism in various ways. Some of the common yet important definitions can be found below. 1. Tourism is defined as the interrelationships arising from the interaction of tourists, suppliers, and government of the host destination and the residents of the host area destination in the process of affecting and catering to tourists. 2. Tourism as a product can be defined as an amalgam of three main components: attractions of the destination, the facilities of the destination, and accessibility. 3. Tourism is the sum total of operators, mainly of the economic nature, which directly relates to entry, stay, and movement of foreigners inside and outside of a certain country, city, or region. The importance of tourism. Economic progress. The tourism industry aids and supports foreign exchange reserves. It benefits our country in generating foreign currency. Every year, a large number of tourists visit India and other places. They visit places, stay, and shop in our country. All this contributes to a significant amount of foreign currency generation. Despite the global recession, Indian tourism grew 6.9% to approximately $42 billion in the year 2010. Tourism is a source of income. Tourism It's a continual source of income for public and private income. The government charges various forms of tax that is called government revenue. The income generated through these taxes is the public income. The profit earned by a seller by selling items like local artifacts, handicraft items, etc., to the tourist is called private income. Tourism also helps in employment generation. It created jobs, specifically in the hotel industry, hospitality industry, service sector, entertainment, and transportation industry. Tourism is also important for the development of infrastructure. Have you ever noticed how the look and status of a place will change when it is declared a tourist place? Actually, tourism aids and encourages infrastructure development by making way for dams, roads, connectivity, airport improvements, and any other activity that helps a tourist in visiting a place in a much better way. Societal progress. Tourism is a wonderful method for cultural exchange. It also encourages societal progress as tourists learn to show respect, tolerance, and love for each other when they visit new places. Cultural heritage. Tourism helps explain the beauty, art, history, and culture of our country. Different people visiting any country take beautiful cultural concepts along with them and spread those concepts to others while visiting other places in the world. Similarly, the local skills, languages, and art get wide exposure through tourism. Educational significance. Tourism has been a great importance for education always. Study tours, short time courses, educational exchange programs, all these are a part and parcel of international tourism, resulting in better knowledge about host countries. Even sports exchange programs can be considered under this. Tourism and the environment. Tourism also has spillover benefits, such as the preservation of the environment, which covers up an area of historical sites and cultural values. PATA, the Pacific Asia Travel Association, and WTO, World Tourism Organization, have laid down laws for its preservation and conservation. India has given a new lease of life to endangered species of animals by making laws forbidding the hunting of lions, deers, peacocks, and many other birds and animals. India has also set up a separate Ministry of Environment and Forest to monitor the use of land from the environmental point of view. Customer service. The customer is king. We have heard this phrase many times, but did you ever try to figure out services or things that make these customers feel like kings? There are some important customer touchpoints in the industry. Types of employment in tourism. You could work in reservations, sales and marketing, housekeeping, front desk, bellhop, and baggage porter. There are other areas related to tourism. Work as a destination manager, work at Welcome Center information booths or ticket reservations, work as a tour operator and tour guide, work as an event planner and convention services, work as an usher, and as a ticket taker. Tourism can also include childcare in resorts, instructors at resorts, spa personnel, campgrounds, museums, zoos, and parks around the world. Food safety. Before you come to work, proper hygiene starts at home when you get ready for work each day. Before you come to work, proper hygiene starts at home when you get ready to go to work each day. This includes showering or bathing before work, trimming and filing your fingernails, don't wear nail polish or false nails, leaving jewelry, including watches at home, except for a plain band ring, and wearing clean clothes. Consult ServSafe for more information. Can you be sure you are washing your hands regularly enough? You should always wash your hands before you handle food or begin any food related task, but it is also very important that you wash your hands after these activities: handling raw meat, poultry, and seafood, using the restroom, touching your hair, face, body, clothes, or apron, sneezing, coughing, or using a tissue, smoking, eating, drinking, or chewing gum, using chemicals that might affect the safety of food, emptying or taking out the garbage, clearing tables or washing dirty dishes, handling money and making change. You should also learn how to calibrate a bimetallic stemmed thermometer using the ice point method. 1. Fill a large container with ice. 2. Put the thermometer stem or probe into the ice water. 3. Adjust the thermometer so it reads 32 degrees. Again, for more information, contact ServSafe. Properly stored food is essential to the health and well-being of all patrons. And temperature. Time and temperature are the perfect food safety pair because to reduce pathogens in food to safe levels, you have to cook the food to its correct minimum internal cooking temperature and then hold the food at this temperature for a specific amount of time. Time and temperature control. There are minimum cooking temperatures. 165 should be used for poultry, stuffing made with fish, meat, or poultry, stuffed meat, seafood, poultry, or pasta, and dishes that include previously cooked, temperature controlled for safety ingredients. 155 degrees is for ground meat, injected meat, mechanically tenderized meat, ground seafood, shell eggs, and ground meat from game animals commercially raised and inspected. 145 degrees is the correct temperature for seafood, steaks, chops of pork, beef, veal, and lamb, commercially raised game, and shell eggs that will be served immediately. 145 degrees is the correct temperature for roasts of pork, beef, veal, and lamb. 135 degrees is the correct temperature for food from plants, fruit, vegetables, grains, and legumes that will be hot held for service. Proper ways to serve food. There is a right way and a wrong way to carry utensils and serve food. Doing it the wrong way can contaminate food and make people ill. Here is the right way and the wrong way to do things. Proper way to serve food. When filling a glass with ice, handling utensils, carrying a glass, and carrying a cup with a handle, note the right versus the wrong way to do so. The same for carrying a plate and serving a food item. Look at how you should handle it. There are proper ways to cool food. It is very important to lower the temperature of hot food as quickly as possible to get it through the temperature danger zone. Talk to your manager about the time and temperature requirements for cooling food. There are a number of methods that can be used to cool food quickly. Begin by dividing large containers of food into smaller containers, and then use one of the following methods to get food to the proper temperature. Proper ways to cool food: with ice paddles, with ice water baths, with blast or tumble chillers. Cleaning versus sanitizing. There is a big difference between cleaning and sanitizing. Cleaning removes food and other types of soil from a surface, such as a countertop or a plate. Sanitizing reduces the number of pathogens on the clean surface to safe levels. To be effective, cleaning and sanitizing must be a 5-step process. First, scrape or remove food from the surface. Second, wash the surface. Third, rinse the surface. Fourth, sanitize the surface. And fifth, allow the surface to air dry. When to clean and sanitize. Everything in your operation must be kept clean, but any surface that comes into contact with food must be cleaned and sanitized. These surfaces must be washed, rinsed, and sanitized. Each time that you use them, when you are interrupted during a task, after handling different new raw TCS fruits and vegetables, when you begin working with a different type of food, as often as possible, but at least every 4 hours if items are in contact use. Cleaning a 3-compartment sink. Before you clean and sanitize items in a 3-compartment sink, make sure that you clean and sanitize each sink and drain board. Next, follow the 5 steps of cleaning and sanitizing in a 3-compartment sink. This is how to clean and sanitize in a 3-compartment sink. First, scrape items before washing them. If necessary, items can be rinsed or soaked. Second, clean items in the first sink, wash them in a detergent solution at least 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Replace the water when the suds are gone or the water is dirty. Third, rinse items in the second sink, spray with water or dip them into it. Remove all traces of food and detergent. If dipping items, change rinse water when dirty or full of suds. Fourth, sanitize items in the third sink. Check the time and temperature requirements for the sanitizer you are using and use a test kit to check concentration. Change the solution when the temperature or sanitizer concentration falls below requirements. Fifth, air dry all items. Place items upside down so they will drain. Never use a towel to dry items. Foodborne illnesses and its cost. There is a right way and a wrong way to carry utensils and serve food. Doing it the wrong way can contaminate food and make people ill. Here are the right ways and the wrong ways to do things. Foodborne illness, disease transmitted to people by food. Foodborne illness outbreak. Two or more people from the same food source. Investigation is conducted and a laboratory analysis confirmed. Populations at high risk for foodborne illnesses. Certain groups of people have a higher risk of getting a foodborne illness than others. These groups are known as high-risk populations. The main reason these people have a higher risk is that they have weakened immune systems. The immune system is the body's defense against illness. When the system is weak, it cannot fight off illness as easily as a healthy system. Step 1, a weakened immune system. Immune system defense against illness. High risk are those who are elderly people and preschool age children. Step 2, compromised immune systems. Cancer or chemotherapy patients, HIV or AIDS patients, transplant recipients, or medications. Summary: it is your responsibility to protect those with higher risk of foodborne illnesses by following proper procedures to avoid contamination. Here are the forms of contamination. In the preparation of food, hazards are divided into three categories: biological, chemical, and physical. Step 1, three categories of food hazards: biological, chemical, and physical. Step 2, biological contamination. Microorganisms are small living organisms that can be seen only through a microscope. Most living things, including humans, carry microorganisms on or in their bodies. Microorganisms that cause illness are called pathogens. They can be transferred from surfaces and hands to food and other surfaces. Pathogens are the greatest threat to food safety in a restaurant or food service operation. Step 3, pathogens. Microorganisms. Small living organisms that are only seen through a microscope, but humans can carry them. Pathogens cause illnesses. Viruses, bacteria, parasites, and fungi, mold, and yeast. Step 4, viruses. Foodborne illnesses caused by viruses can generally be prevented if you take the right precautions. People carry viruses in their feces and can transfer them to their hands after using the restroom. That is why workers are always told to wash their hands after using the restroom, because otherwise they could contaminate food and make guests sick. The best way to prevent the spread of viruses is to do the following. Stay home if you have been vomiting or have diarrhea or jaundice. Jaundice is yellowing of skin and eyes. Wash your hands at the right times and in the right way. Avoid using bare hands to handle ready-to-eat food. In summary, to prevent foodborne illness, it is important to recognize the hazards that can make food unsafe. A hazard is something with the potential to cause harm. Prevent spreading by proper hand washing and safety precautions if you are ill. Contamination prevention. Food that is most vulnerable to pathogen growth is also referred to as a food that needs time and temperature control for safety. TCS. TCS food for short. All these types of foods have the FATTOM conditions needed for bacterial growth. Not surprisingly, they are also commonly involved in foodborne illness outbreaks. Knowing what bacteria are and how they grow can help you control them. If the conditions are right, bacteria will grow rapidly, doubling the number as often as every 20 minutes. Some bacteria, as they grow and die, create toxins or poisons in food. Cooking may not destroy these toxins, and people who eat the food can become sick. Examples of foodborne bacteria include Salmonella and E. coli. Bacteria need 6 conditions to grow. An easy way to remember these conditions is by remembering the phrase FAT-TOM. That stands for food, acidity, temperature, time, oxygen, and moisture. Parasites. In the United States, illnesses from parasites are not as common as those from viruses and bacteria. However, it is still important to understand what parasites are and how to prevent contamination. Parasites do not grow in food. They get nourishment and protection from other living organisms known as host. A host may be a person, animal, or plant. Parasites can live in cows, chickens, pigs, and fish, many types of foods that humans like to eat. They also can contaminate water. Chemical contamination. Chemical contaminants pose a risk to food safety. These contaminants come from everyday items that may be found in many restaurants and food operations. Restaurants and food service chemicals can contaminate food if they are used or stored in the wrong manner. These include cleaners, sanitizers, polishers, and machine lubricants. Chemicals should be stored in a separate area away from food, utensils, and equipment used for food. You should always follow the manufacturer's directions when using chemicals, especially while food is being prepared. Physical contamination. Physical contamination happens when objects get into food. These objects can be naturally occurring, such as the bones in fish. Other contaminants result from accidents and mistakes. These include fingernails, hair, and bandages, fruit pits, glass from broken light bulbs, jewelry, metal shavings from cans. Food allergies. The number of people in the United States with food allergies is increasing. A food allergy is the body's negative reaction to a food protein. The proteins that cause allergic reactions are called food allergens, and these proteins occur naturally. When enough of the allergen is eaten, the immune system mistakenly considers it harmful and attacks the protein. This can result in an allergic reaction. Food allergy, negative reaction to a food protein. Food allergens, proteins causing allergic reactions. The immune system attacks the protein and causes allergic reaction. People with food allergies can become sick or sometimes die from eating even a tiny amount of a triggering allergen. In fact, if a food allergen even touches a dish that an allergic guest eats, it can be enough to trigger a reaction. When a food item contains an allergen, when a food item containing an allergen comes in contact with another food item and their proteins mix, it is called cross contact. It sounds similar to cross contamination, but cross contact refers specifically to food allergens. The big 8 food allergens. In a restaurant or food service operation, managers, servers, and kitchen staff must do their part to keep guests with food allergies safe. That means keeping the food allergens away from the guests who are allergic to them. The big 8 food allergens account for 90% of all food allergy reactions in the United States. People who work with food need to be aware of the big 8. It is also important to know which menu items contain them. When a guest says that he or she has a food allergy, you need to pay attention. Shellfish and seafood, eggs, fish, milk, peanuts and tree nuts, soy and wheat. Serving guests with food allergies. When serving guests with food allergies, servers must be ready to answer guests' questions about any menu item. It is also important to know how to prevent cross contact. Here is how to keep guests safe. Tell the guest how each dish is made. It is important to know which dishes contain big 8 allergens. Tell the guest about any secret ingredients that may contain allergens. While you might not want to share these recipes with the public, you still must be able to tell the guest if the dish contains an allergen. Suggest alternative menu items that do not have the food allergen. Identify the allergen special order. Clearly indicate the order for the guest with the allergy. It is also a good idea to verbally tell the kitchen staff about the food allergen. Deliver the allergen special order to the guest. Do this separately from other food to prevent cross contact. Servers should never take a guess about what a menu item contains. If they do not know, they should ask someone who does, such as the manager or kitchen staff. Preparing food for guests with food allergies. When preparing food for guests with food allergies, kitchen staff must make sure that allergens are not transferred from food containing an allergen to the food served to the guest. For example, think about a guest with a shellfish allergy who orders chicken nuggets. What happens if the chicken nuggets are cooked in a fryer that was used for shrimp? As you may have guessed, that is cross contact. Steps to avoid cross contact. Wash hands, change gloves, assign equipment, separate fryers and oils, keep allergens separate, wash, rinse, and sanitize, cookware utensils and equipment, food prep services, separate utensils, check recipes and ingredient labels. COVID-19. In February 2021, President Biden solemnly marked a somber milestone. More than 500,000 Americans lost to COVID-19. SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, shows no signs of giving up peacefully. Instead, it is a battle between prevention efforts like the vaccine and a virus that keeps dodging them. What's in a name? We now know that COVID-19 is a pandemic. Let's take a step back to see how it got its designation. Flip the cards below to understand 3 ways epidemiologists define the severity of disease transmission as defined by the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC. What is an outbreak? Higher than expected disease cases in one location at a time. What is an epidemic? Quick uptick in disease cases. What is a pandemic? A disease spreads in several countries with many people infected. What is COVID-19? COVID-19 is part of a group of zoonotic viruses, which means it can pass between animals and people. The rare cases when viruses jump from animals to people are called spillover events. Spillover events happen when a virus mutates or, in a case, increased contact between animals and humans. Then the virus spreads from person to person. The word corona means crown in Latin. The coronavirus gets its name from protein spikes that give a virus a crown-like appearance. COVID-19 is an abbreviation of coronavirus disease 2019. CO stands for corona. VI is for virus. D for disease. And 19 stands for 2019, the year it was discovered. COVID-19 initially occurred in a group of people with pneumonia who were associated with a live animal and seafood market. Since the first case in 2019, the disease has been different from other outbreaks for two key reasons. Asymptomatic person to person transmission moves quickly and globally, and then there's no cure. Vaccines have been developed. Great job. You have completed this course. You have completed the map for hospitality and tourism. Please see your instructor for your certificate.